What's going on, guys? It's the bearded one. I want to apologize in advance for this lamp in my face. I hope it's not too distracting. I hope, in fact, it's possibly cut out of the camera. But I just got a wild hair up my butt, and I feel like standing up. I don't always want to sit in the same place, have the same background, or whatever. And you guys have been following me for a while know that. I feel like I say they're all special. I know I don't actually say they're all special every video. It's something in my psyche feels that way. But this will be an interesting review nonetheless. Technically, it's a craft beer. Blue Moon. They're owned by the evil empire, Anheuser-Busch InBev. Say what you want about Blue Moon being a craft brewery. I have my own thoughts and opinions about that. But when I did the brewery release calendar Beardcast, which is uploaded if anybody's interested, I talked about the beer release calendars in that Beardcast. Sorry, I said a brewcast. I cut out like everything and restarted the show. But the first time I cut that episode, I looked up the top 50 biggest breweries in the country. Excuse me. It's not even top 50 biggest breweries. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. Top 50 biggest craft breweries in the country, and Blue Moon was on the list. So legally, they're a craft brewery. Whether you think they're craft beer or not, that's your own opinion. I have my own for sure about Anheuser-Busch InBev. FYI, for those of you that don't know, Blue Moon is a Belgian white, which is a Belgian style wheat ale. This is my favorite style of beer. I have had Blue Moon before, specifically the Belgian white. I know there's different iterations of Blue Moon these days. Back then, it was when I was beginning to explore beer back then. I knew what to expect from beer. I was drinking Sam Adams pretty heavy at that time. And so I was ready to start branching out and try other things at that point. That was still before I met my wife, so you're talking 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. And I didn't care for it, but that was so long ago. I figure it's time to review it again. And I'm not scared to review macro beer. In fact, sometime in the future, I have a Dos Equis Amber in my refrigerator, and I'll be reviewing that sometime in the near future. Just not tonight. But yeah, this Blue Moon is a Belgian style wheat ale, affectionately known in Belgium as wit beer. Again, my favorite style of beer. It was not invented, but it almost went extinct in the 1950s or 60s. And Pierre Celis, I call him Pierre Celis because I'm American, I don't want to say reinvented, because he didn't invent the style at all. But he brought it back from the depths of extinction over there in Belgium. And I forget the brewery he started it with. Anyways, it's Hoegaarden. Hoegaarden is also owned by AB InBev now. But he created Hoegaarden. And he resurrected wit beer from the ashes of extinction. And he also collaborated with St. Bernardus, so their wit beer has had the hands of the Godfather himself involved in that recipe. And sometime in the 90s or the 2000s, Pierre moved to Texas. And you'll have to excuse me, my history gets a little blurred. I don't remember everything I've read. But he started a brewery in Texas, and the name escapes me, which his daughter now has taken over. and he brought wit beer to America and invented. He didn't invent. He brewed his own wit beer out of that brewery. Maybe they're called Sallee Brewing, or maybe that beer was the Sallee White. I'm not sure. Anyways, as always, we talk about the head first, and the head has dissipated. There's no head. It's just a light rim of bubbles floating around. This particular wit beer, what is the ABV? I bet it's a sessionable beer, and I can tell you that. Most wit, 5.4% alcohol. This is meant to be what they call a lawnmower beer. And what people mean by that term, if you're new to it, is that, you know, on a hot summer day when you're mowing the lawn out there, you don't want a heavy stout. You want a light beer that's going to feel refreshing. And it's going to be sweet. You don't have to think a whole lot about it. It's not going to have a rich, complex flavor. Not to say that wit beers don't have a rich, complex flavor. And so wit beer kind of falls into that category of the lawnmower beer. They're usually lower in ABV. They don't have too many ingredients for you to think about. And yeah, that's what they mean. They're typically brewed with a lot of coriander and orange peel as well. Those are the staple ingredients. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this beer. I know in the spirit of the show, I try to visit these websites and learn a little bit about the beer. But with this being Blue Moon, I just don't feel like there was going to be anything worth reading about on the website other than some marketing. But if there is, you can go visit the website yourself and read up on Blue Moon. So, I bet this is going to be murky, even though I just looked at it. Yeah, what? I mean, this is a full-on haze. I can't see through it at all. Wit beers can range from more clear. They're usually an unfiltered beer, so they're never going to be clear. They're never going to have a ton of clarity, but they're not always this hazy. I can't see through it at all. It reminds me of pineapple juice is what it looks like. It's just a tinge of orange, just a tinge of a deeper color here in the middle, and then it just slightly highlights around the edges. A really deep gold color, for sure. Yeah, it's really weedy. I get a bready, grainy flavor. Yeah, I get that fluorescent coriander flavor, and that plays just so nicely with the orange peel here. The Valencia, what do they use? Valencia? Yeah, Valencia orange peel. I've never seen a Valencia orange, never tasted a Valencia orange, but that's what they used. These typically are served with an orange peel or an orange slice as well. Yeah, just bready, floral, orange, sweet. What more can you get out of this beer? I feel like there might be a slight a slight like cooking spice thing in here. I think I'm gonna lean towards that's just my brain playing tricks on me. I don't think this is a spiced wit beer. I think I just want it to be for some reason in my brain. It's somehow triggering those memories. The beer doesn't suck. I know I just made that weird face. The beer is not bad. So this is a weird variety of orange peel, and I feel like the coriander is kind of playing into that as well. This isn't a sour beer at all. There is no tart factor in here. And I'm just saying that to preface what I'm about to say, which is I feel like if I had a Valencia orange, it would probably be a more bitter orange and not as sweet as, per se, a tangerine usually would be. It's just not the sweetest beer in the world, although there's a lot of sweetness in here. It tastes like a sweet, like orange bread almost. I'm really getting that grain and that orange. I feel like coriander is the feature of this beer. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of beer podcasts. I watch a lot of homebrewers on YouTube. I listen to homebrewers on podcasts. And I never thought, I thought if you bought coriander anywhere in the world, it was going to taste the same. But apparently there are different kinds of coriander, just like there are different kinds of oranges or different kinds of apples. And I definitely feel like I taste a different kind of coriander than I'm used to tasting in, per se, the Einstock Arctic White Ale, or Avondale has Avondale from Birmingham. They have a wit beer. I want to say it's the Battlefield, or is that the IPA? I'm not sure, but they have a white ale. It's different from Cold Snap, and I'm about to review Cold Snap right after this. Definitely a different style of coriander and orange here. Yeah, just they got what they were looking for. Wheat, coriander, orange. A little more on the bitter side, but don't confuse that with a hoppy bitterness. There's no hop presence in here. So for those of you people who either hate the hop dominance of the market, or you're just scared of hop bitterness in general, you're safe with this beer. Which segues me into recommendations. I feel like the role for Blue Moon is just to help get people into craft beer, something other than Budweiser or Bud Light or Miller or Coors. I'm not hating on those beers. Macro lagers have their place. I feel like macro lagers are good for when it's 100 degrees outside, or you're trying beer for the first time. Everybody's got to start somewhere, and so I think that's where macro lagers fit into place. And I feel like this beer, even though it's in a style that's good for beginners, I think this specific beer, because of its flavor profile, I think this is just good for the first beer you're going to buy that's not Bud, Miller, or Coors. I think that's where Blue Moon's place is in the world. For anything else, I think you can spend your money elsewhere. So I can't make a legit recommendation for Blue Moon. And I'm not hating because they're owned by the evil empire. I didn't care for this beer 8 years ago, and I'm not crazy about it now, and this is my favorite style. So if I like a wit beer, I'm going to voice my opinion that it's an excellent beer. It's my favorite style. It probably always will be, just because I like the sessionability and along with the flavor profile of wit beer. But yeah, again, the first case of beer you're going to buy and take to a party that's not Bud, Miller, or Coors, that's where I feel like I'm going to recommend this beer. Otherwise, if you've had Blue Moon, or you're already drinking craft beer, whatever it is, and you want to try a wit beer, spend your money elsewhere. Sam Adams Cold Snap, Hoegaarden, St. Bernardus wit beer. Look for white ale. New Belgium has a white ale. I think it's a seasonal release. I know your favorite craft local microbrewery is probably going to have a white ale. So just look for that and spend your money there. And I will warn you though, however, not all wit beers are the same. Some are going to be more hoppy than others, so just be aware of that. They're not all lawnmower beers, even though this style is in that category. As far as a rating goes, it's not a bad beer, but I don't like it. So I'm going to give it a 2.75 out of 5. I feel like it's an above average beer. If I was going to buy a lot of this beer, it would be for chugging at a party to get drunk, because it's not bad. It's not Bud Miller or Coors. And it's not going to be so good that it's priced higher than I would like. And I wouldn't feel bad about sharing it with other people, or just straight out chugging it, you know. So yeah, that's where I'm at on this beer. I hope I didn't bash on it too much. If you like Blue Moon, I'm sorry I disagree with you. Please post your comments if you agree or disagree with me on Blue Moon in the comments below. Every beer has its place in the world except for bad beer, and even bad beer has its place in the world. So yeah, that wraps it up, guys. Blue Moon Belgian White, 2.75 out of 5. Until next time, guys.